Today I'm here with Ian, who is the main guy in Atherton for running, and we're just going to have a little conversation about injuries and like where maybe I can help, and if Ian wants to ask me any advice. So Ian, have you had any injuries yourself?
Yeah, I think over the years I've had quite a few. I think mainly I've struggled with kind of hamstrings, quads, those sort of things. A couple of years ago, I also had piriformis syndrome as well. So that was quite a painful injury. Fortunately, though, for the last few years, I haven't really had much in the way of injuries. Just kind of like little bits of sort of muscle soreness and those sort of things that's gone away kind of pretty quickly. Really.
Yeah. So going back to your injuries, is there anything that you've done yourself to help your recovery after you've been injured?
Yeah. So I mean, I've had sports massages in the past. The sports massage therapists that I've had, they've kind of like, unfortunately, sort of they poke and prod around your muscles, which, full disclosure, isn't like any other kind of massage, because I thought it was a thing where they put music on and that sort of thing. And then when I'm there sort of like hammering the table as people are sort of digging into different muscles, it's not a pleasant experience. But at the end of it, you know, you're going to come out of that hopefully with your muscles. They're going to feel looser. You're going to recover quicker after you've had those kind of interventions. A while ago, I also had some. I remember I was in the middle of the longest run I've ever done, and they had like medical checkpoints in the middle of it. So I got to about 20 miles in the run, and I had this terrible knee problem, and it was a problem that I can't remember what it was. I think it was going down hills. I couldn't go down hills, so they had a medic there, and they kind of diagnosed it, and they looked at it, and I must have had the most unsympathetic medic that you've ever had in a run. So they sort of looked at it and they're like, yeah, well, they're sort of like, well, it's muscular. So they said, you'll be okay to keep going. I'm like, oh, okay, you sure? So they said, yeah, take 2 ibuprofen, get to the next checkpoint and see how you feel at the next checkpoint. So fortunately, I did make it to the end of that run. And then after that, I also went for some, is it like radiotherapy, I think, that you have, because there was some sort of scar tissue around my knee, and that sort of alleviated that. And I've got to say that within a few weeks, that was all kind of cleared up. And, you kind of, you maybe reach a low ebb at those points, because if you get injured, you may think, well, this is the end of it. I can't possibly ever get back to running because I've got this injury. But no, just, go and see kind of professionals, get a sports massage or whatever kind of other thing you need to do, to kind of get yourself back up and running, hopefully.
Yeah, definitely. Is there anyone maybe at the moment who is struggling with an injury, or someone that you've had previously? So maybe I could give them a little bit of advice on what we would do to help.
I think generally kind of there's things about sort of, muscular strains and things like that. Particularly people have struggled with like tight calf muscles and that sort of thing. So when they've been running, that's really caused them a bit of a problem. And it's difficult. I suppose it's difficult from the sort of running club scenario that you don't want to push, you certainly don't want to push people to come back and do it. So we've always been sort of with the advice of, well, you probably really need to go and sort of consult professionals, so if you've got like a tight calf or that kind of thing, or it keeps coming back. We've kind of said to people in the past, look, just don't keep coming back and back to the running club and just hope that it's going to kind of like one day it's going to magically get better. It won't get better.
Yeah.
You need help with that. You need help from someone qualified who can look at the injury and kind of assess it, because just repeating the same behaviour over and over again. Oh, I've made it to 2 miles, but that's no good. I've made it to a mile, that's no good. And it just, it puts them at a really kind of like, a low ebb to keep doing it. And it keeps coming back to, to sort of haunt them, if you like.
I think that's the thing, isn't it? Like with some people, like how you've described, they think they might just be tight and that they might not have an injury. And maybe that is the case, but there probably is some sort of deficit there that a professional like me and like the other physios here, that we could look at and potentially see where's going wrong. So in that situation, what we would do when we get a client in is we have a conversation and we do like a screening type of and we have a good conversation about like what they're doing at the moment, like what they would like to achieve. And then what we do is we do an assessment. What we do then is we look at the person's biomechanics. We look at the muscles and we see, is there anything that you're lacking in terms of muscle strength? So is one muscle stronger than the other, where it should be stronger for running? Like in running, you should always have strong calves, strong quads.
Yeah.
So if someone is maybe lacking a little bit of that in one of the legs, then we can give them some advice. So we would do that. We would do an assessment, and then we ask people kind of what facilities they've got. So do they go to a gym? Do they not? Do they have equipment at home they use? Is there any equipment we can advise them to buy? And then we sit down and we plan like a 4 to 6 week program with someone. We go through some exercises, rehabilitation that they can be doing. And then we will review them after that 4 to 6 week period. They will then come back to us. We will reassess them. Have they improved? Generally, they do improve. And then we set some new goals, and kind of lots of people book races, so that's what they want to achieve. And then we will build on that for another 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And then we'll start increasing the amount that they're doing, increase their exercises, providing everything's okay. But yeah, that's what we do. And I think it's quite good to have this conversation with you, because a lot of people who go running just go and run and that's it. Whereas strength and conditioning and rehabilitation is so important, for muscles, and even joints, ligaments and everything, because if you're not doing strengthening as well as running, you are predisposed to getting injured. So it's quite good to have this conversation with you.
Yeah, I think so. I think also just the sort of maintenance angle of sports massages as well is a good idea, because it can spot issues really before they kind of come up, and
Definitely.
they've always been very helpful to me, and because they just keep those muscles kind of ticking over, as you say. Those are the big muscle groups, and those are the ones that are really important to running. So I think it's important that people keep that sort of keep the maintenance of those areas intact.
I think you don't realise that you are tight in some areas until you have a massage.
No, absolutely not. No, I've had sports massage people who've been like, oh, that felt a bit tight there, and I hadn't experienced any sort of problems in those particular areas. So yeah, it's very handy to have people spot where those issues might sort of crop up in future.
Yeah, and then like with if you have got a race book, getting one pre and post race, before and after, it helps with recovery, doesn't it? Definitely.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah, I must admit though, I think all the races that I tend to enter, I don't think I see that many at the end of them. I think the Manchester one Manchester Marathon, that always has sports massages at the end of it, so that's always a very good idea to to kind of recover those muscle groups.
Definitely. Yeah. Thanks, Ian.
Okay, thank you.